Yeah. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our seminar this morning. So this seminar is about the digital transformation of face-to-face workshops. So just allow me to introduce myself. My name is Toby Gilchrist. I'm the Client Relationship Manager at Digits. I've got private and public sector experience. In the public sector, I was the digital and technology lead for workforce development. I've also been a trainer at Apple and I have a background in instructional design. So who are Digits? So we're a UK-based company based on the South Coast, and we have 25 years experience in digital learning. So here's a list of just some of our clients from various sectors, and we've developed various projects just delivering real business benefits. So as well as developing digital learning content, we've also got our learning platform called Glow Learn. It's our engaging, gamified, mobile learning content management system. Just helps you deliver your full learning cycle. But today we really want to show you how we helped power Notion's management development program. So that's the aim of the game today. So Glow Learn is award-winning. Quite recently we've won the UK Digital Experience Award and Innovation in Learning at the Learning Awards.
And to introduce myself, my name's Laura Ashley Timms and I'm a director at Notion. Notion are a global specialist in behavioural change and coaching, and we've been established since the year 2000, so we're 18 years old today. In terms of my background, I started my life in retail doing buying departments and product development in men's trousers, and I was so ambitious and successful I got promoted into men's underwear, where my career really took off. And from there I went to work in the Teletubbies and other organisations like that, developing my product development, marketing expertise and experience. And for the last 15 years I've been an executive coach and doing a lot of the product development for Notion. Like Digits, we have a wide range of clients we've worked for over the years, right from education through to really fast-paced operational businesses. And we very much specialise around behavioural change using coaching approaches. So we obviously do executive coaching, but we also develop up to postgrad level internal coaches, and we support them in supervision and CPD. And today we really focus on what we call operational coaching, which is helping every manager really think through how they change their behaviour in the moment every day to have better conversations with their team.
So what is digital transformation? It's the change associated with the application of digital technology in all aspects of human society. But in real truth, it's been a bit of a buzzword kicking around for several years. So what we want to do today is show you a real live example of digital transformation. So we want to really share the story of how we transformed Notion's management development program from face-to-face workshops to a full digital learning experience.
Yeah, so this journey started just over 2 years ago. It was December 15, and I was sitting in a meeting with one of our major clients, and we were reviewing a very successful program. We just put 200 of their managers through this management development program. It was achieving 16 times ROI, and one of our models, the STAR model, which is a behavioural change model that's very effective, was really, really being loved by the organisation. And they posed a question of how could we actually take this from 200 managers to all their managers. And currently, at the time, they had 30,000 line managers in their organisation, and we really had to think about how we were going to do that. And I spent that Christmas with the rest of the team thinking through what are all the options, and we explored lots of different things to do. But really we had to answer this question first and foremost, is actually knowing how much behavioural change was in the programme, is what would have to happen and what would have to be different to have 30,000 managers go through this programme without losing any of the ROI and actually doing it at a fraction of the cost, which was the other brief that we'd had to take. And we explored different things we could do, whether we could upscale the size of the workshops, do train the trainer, but very much came to the realisation that the only way to do this successfully and consistently without dropping standards was to really look at a fully virtual blend and take what was a blended programme with lots of other components in it, completely virtual and digital. Now, this was a particularly challenging issue for us because at the time, 2 years ago, we didn't have a lot of confidence in e-learning. We thought it was really great for compliance work, we thought it was great for core skills, but we had zero belief that you could change behaviour digitally without actually having one of our expert coaches in the room really putting those light bulbs on for every individual going through the programme. And that was the biggest hurdle we had to overcome. So we started doing our due diligence. We spoke to 21 different providers of LMS platforms. We realized that to keep people in a 2-month program, you absolutely had to have engagement. And every LMS platform we looked at was like a wheel of death. It was just this hideous grey boxes that really upset us and upset me, until one day we met Digits and came across these pretty pictures. Actually, you could take people through a visual learning journey and it didn't have to look boring. It could look exciting and really stimulate the learner. And at this point, I think we finally got a light bulb moment, which went, there might be something we can really do here that's possible. We did, I say, a lot of due diligence. The 21 providers we narrowed down to 3, and then we put them through a really rigorous testing process about can they really do everything it needs to do with the scalability, the global elements, all the different infrastructure we needed in place. And as you can see from this chart, Digits absolutely came out top. And the other player that did very well was Leo. And we put the 2 ideas together of working with a fantastic platform with some really great content that we could develop with Digits, and then do some of the e-learning and the other elements globally with Leo. And that's been a really great partnership. Obviously, we hadn't built the program at this point. We were still doing feasibility studies. So we decided to actually put one of our live programs through the ropes within this platform and really see how we could take one of our really complicated, accredited 4-month programs with all the components that we knew were going to be in this blend and test it with Digits.
So when we came to pilot with the coaching skills workshop, obviously it was really important to look at how the workshop was delivered before. Notion kindly provided us an epic spreadsheet of all the elements of the program, and the idea was, as a team at Digits, we're looking through the spreadsheet and trying to line up how our platform can make these things come to life. But the thing that was really paramount, it wasn't a lift and shift, it was the user experience. How's the user going to interact with this program now? It's a lot of it's been taking place online, but also really important to automate as much as possible. I think it's fair to say there's a lot of manual intervention within the current program. So trying to alleviate some time of the Notion team and use the platform to automate the elements. So when looking at the out-of-the-box features of Glow Learn, just to see what we could tap into to bring the coaching skills workshop pilot to life, obviously we firstly tapped into visual learning journeys. So like Laura was showing a few of our client examples. So we brought all the elements of the program, all the activities, all the assessments, workshops, the ability to book onto face-to-face workshops, the ability to book onto coaching conference calls, all strung together in a visual interactive learning journey. We had our content management system, which just basically empowers the administrator to edit and amend content, so text, image. So the idea is that you can bespoke these home pages, and Notion use this to bespoke it to their various clients, so it felt very personal to them. We have a full email, SMS, and push notification system with our mobile app. So basically alerting users to the next step in their journey, just kind of string them along their journey and a reminder of activities they've got to undertake as they're working through their journey. Glow Learns also uses responsive design, so it will adapt to mobile, tablet, and desktop. We also have a companion app called MoGlow, which enables the learner to pull down that learning activity offline, complete it offline. As soon as they're back online, it will sync the data back up to the platform. So Notion granted access to the coaching skills workshop via mobile devices, and obviously it all looks branded to Notion. We have lots of widgets, which is basically bite-sized access to the big data that's available in Glow Learn. It just enables gamified features like leaderboards, badges, learning progress, just to, again, encourage that learner through that learning journey. So for the coaching skills workshop, we use this as an accreditation badge when they complete the program. So yeah, safe to say from the pilot of Coaching Skills Workshop, Digits and Notion, we learned a lot. We learned what worked so well and what didn't work so well, and led us on to our next project.
Yeah, so the real reason we were doing this wasn't to try and put some of our current programs through this process. It was really to transform what we were doing and go 100% digital. And this was a Star Manager program that we've been building for the last 2 years. And this had an even more complicated brief. That brief we were set at the beginning by our client. About 2 months after they set us that brief of same ROI, large scale, and getting those same results and a fraction of the cost, they then came back with 12 other points we had to meet. One person had to go through it at a time. No cohorts at all. People could go through at their own pace. They wanted action learning incorporated into it. They wanted it to be experiential. I mean, the list just went on and on and on. And all of these points had to be addressed. So we had to look at how we're going to keep people really engaged throughout this journey. And we identified 15 different types of activities we needed to include in this blend. So it really was complicated in that some of that could go into the e-learning elements and be blended within that, but other things had to live outside of the e-learning and really part of the core learning journey within the platform. So the other thing we had to do with it being digital is we knew that people had different learning styles, so it had to work equally well on the laptops or on a big computer, on the phone. I might start it on one device and I might pop up the train and finish elements, and we had to make sure it adapted in all those different environments. So we also had to make it simple. We wanted people to be intuitive going through this journey, and we really came up with a 4-step plan of what a learner had to do to get started on this program. Step 1 was a welcome email, a small video welcoming them to the program with their access and login details to the platform. They then go in and log into Notion.global, and from there they get straight into their learning journey. We've obviously got to make sure they're on the safe sender list so that all those notification emails, all the extra content, all that part of the sustainability of the program is well received, and then they launch the program. So they launch it and they immediately get a really nice image of the overview of the program. The Star Manager program is split into 4 different components, which really are made up of 2 core phases of content. You've got the Star Coach program, which is all about changing the manager's behavior in the moment to stop telling people what to do and start asking better questions and engaging their team differently by altering how they behave. And then the second area is becoming a star manager. And this is when you're doing that now more naturally. So you've got time now to purposely think about how to enable your team to develop them. So they're the 2 components, and then that's into challenging conversations, performance, development, and all of those sort of content. The other 2 parts of this program in the blend are the practitioner elements, where people are going to be working in small groups with coaches in live sessions that are facilitated and managed. And we've got the live learning stations, and all of this has to be built into the program. So they start the program, they click the first button, that takes them into the first phase of the program, and there they can see the 10 modules they need to complete. And then they start their first module by clicking module number 1. In this case, it's called Launch Prep. And then they go into a detailed journey map. So again, hopefully very visual, very simple. And here we got rid of all those horrible grey boxes. You just got a nice pink button to launch your SCO. And you go in there and you're taken on an interactive journey through this particular learning. And in this case, it's about developing your skills to be a better line manager. When you've gone through that particular module, you now come out and do what I think is the really, really important stuff. We have to actually make sure we're embedding this skill and these new skills they've learned. So one of the things we've done, and we've done this with Digits, is design actual interfaces throughout the journey that you can capture data and see progress. So in this very first one, there's an assessment they do, a self-assessment of their core skills against what we think are the 9 key types of competencies you need to be a good line manager. And we measure them at the beginning of the program, at the end of those first 10 modules, and at the end of module 20, at the end of becoming a star manager. And this captures all their data all the way through on this interactive content. They also get to set goals against all of these in the system as well, which they can go back and revisit during the journey. And there's lots of 10 out of 10, we call them, capture moments throughout this program, and Toby's going to showcase a few of the other ones a little bit later. We then have built in these missions. So there's 20 missions in this program, and this is the way of taking the content you've learned back into the workplace. It's putting it into practice in the real world with your team. And the idea there is iteratively you're building up the muscles, the skills, and the confidence to really embed all of this knowledge. And you pull down your mission, you do your mission, and then the really, really important things happen. You reflect on it. Now, I don't know if any of you saw the Harvard Business Review in 2014, but there is a lot of research and evidence to show that even if you spend just 5 or 10 minutes reflecting at the end of the day, you can increase performance by 18 to 25%. It's a very, very good article. It's only a few pages long if anyone wants to go and have a look at it. But what is really important about that, And what we were really struggling with is most e-learning has no reflection ability. You can't capture it. But we've managed to work with Digits to design a whole new concept in this product that allows us to capture, and for every learner to capture a confidential learning log where they're taken through a guided reflection exercise after every single element of their learning. And this is the thing that's going to really transform the ROI. And literally you can go through each question. It's all set for each of the learning experiences you've just been through. It's all related to each of your missions, and you can go back and do this 2 or 3 times. You can add to it at any point in your journey, and you can print it off and have a physical journal at the end of it as well if you want to. And then we've got another component, which is the success tracker. And for those organizations here that want to prove ROI, I think that's important. This is a really, really neat way of doing it, because we're able to I don't know if that's launched, but we're able to actually get people, as they're going through the journey, if they have a fantastic conversation with one of their team, they can click their success tracker from anywhere in any of the maps in any module and record the great conversation they've just had. It might be that they've turned around a poor performing store. It might be that they've just had an amazing client conversation and they've managed to close a project because they've changed the way they communicated in that meeting. It might be that they've managed to get someone not to leave the business. Whatever it is, or their annual sickness has gone down because people are more engaged, whatever it is, they can record that particular instance, and they can also set a financial amount next to it if it is a commercial. It might not be commercial, but if it is commercial, they can record it. And all of this can be compiled so that we can create reports for you about actually what is the total ROI from this program. And each individual learner will have their own report from their success tracker.
So to take one of these exercises as an example, so the team at Digits, when looking into these exercises, obviously important to understand how the exercise worked previously. But again, it wasn't a simple lift and shift. Just because it works in the PDF workbook doesn't mean it will work in digital world. So it's just to deconstruct it. What's the overall outcome? What's the overall objective of this activity? So when we came to look at the digital solution, so we can, again, launch it from the visual learning journey. And this is the 4 domains exercise. So 0 clutter, straight to the point. All we're trying to do here is capture how much time a delegate is spending leading, managing, doing and coaching. So the idea is at the beginning of the program, you mark down where you feel you are spending your time and print it out as a PDF, so you've got that as your record. But this is where the important bit comes in. So we revisit the activity, so a brand new activity, and what we're actually doing is sucking the data back in from that previous activity, so you can reflect on where you were before. The idea being now is your leading and coaching skills are ideally increasing. You've been through some learning interventions, and you can make a record of that. And again, you can print this out as a PDF, and you can just see those skills are actually increasing now. So the idea is it looks really simple to the user. 0 barriers. It's just launch the journey, interact with my learning activity. But actually, there's some quite clever stuff going on behind the scenes. So to make this really work, it couldn't be developed with an authoring tool like Articulate Storyline or Captivate, anything that's out of the box. We had to really build this from the ground up in HTML5. So it had to be responsive to work on mobile devices. We had to get the charts working in certain ways, sliders working in certain ways, so we could really build exactly what we needed to build. And then the idea is that obviously it's our platform. It's, we own the database, so we can actually extract that data from one activity and pass it back into another activity. So I think there's several exercises where you're interacting and your data is being shared across the whole program, which is something quite different for e-learning. Normally it's go and do some e-learning, go into the platform, and it's actually weaving the two together. So at the end of the program, you can see, as you've been working through, your leading and coaching skills have progressively increased throughout the whole program. So to summarize from Digits, we felt it was really key to understand the core objective, what the learning outcome was of the individual activities, the whole program. What does it really need to achieve? And when coming to redesigning in digital, it wasn't a simple lift and shift, like I say, take the content out of a PDF workbook and just paste it onto a page. Really simple, really core to rethink it for digital world. But the key thing is it's all about the user. How's the user going to interact with this? What's the experience going to be like? And eliminate as many barriers as possible.
I think for Notion, there are a number of key learnings, really. The first one was about the research. We spent up to 6 months in the end, really finding the right partners. And that was, quite a tough journey and a lot of effort and a lot of legwork. But it is absolutely worth doing the upfront planning and research and getting the right platform and the right partners in place. The second thing really to say is don't expect an easy ride. What I didn't share with you when we're going through this story is that when we were doing that first piece of work, when we were trying to map what was about 60 different points in that big spreadsheet we shared in terms of the different touch points we have in our journey, when we were trying to map that with Digits initially, it was a really painful process. We were very awkward customers, and it was a complicated process compared to a lot of other clients. And a lot of companies would have run a mile. In fact, of the 21 companies we spoke to, a lot of companies did run a million miles away from this project because it was actually going to be a tough one. But they stuck with it, and amazingly, they dug their heels in and thinking, no, we're going to crack this, we're going to prove this system can do something this complicated. And that was really, really amazing. So don't expect it to be easy. If you've got something worth doing, then actually you actually do need to do that and do it well. And also challenge what's possible. Everyone told us you couldn't actually create something with genuine behavioural change. You couldn't capture this data. You couldn't really do some of this stuff. And actually that isn't true. You just have to ask different and better questions and really think through and challenge, how can we do it? And yes, it might have meant we had to ultimately work with 2 partners rather than 1, which would have been even nicer. But that is worth doing. It's worth getting your absolute expert team together and making sure that you don't take no for an answer if you've got something you're really passionate about doing well. So I think we're going to have time for some Q&A in a little while, actually, because I think we're running slightly ahead. But before we do that, we thought we would show you. We launched last night the Start Manager program. It was a really exciting event last night. So we thought we'd share with you the video that kind of sums up what we've achieved working with Digits on this journey. So thank you very much. I think that ends the formal presentation that we've made, and we're very happy to take some questions.
Oh, there's a microphone there.
There's a mic.
You know, your success tracker, to capture the moment, that's one of the things that we've always struggled, because when people are reflecting, it tends to be 6 hours after something happens. So that's really powerful. They can do it on their phones. Does it drop into, can they tag it so it drops into a particular unit or module or mission? Or does it drop into like a portfolio, which they then have to sort and categorize later?
No, the way the success tracker works, it's a single document that wherever they are in the program, they can launch into that same document. So it's their success tracker, and it constantly logs from anywhere they are.
But it then downloads into a portfolio of evidence? Because if they have one every day and they're on a 6-month journey, obviously that's quite a lot of statements. So I'm wondering how that is organised. Does it drop into a kind of portfolio? How do you report on it? How do they look at it in a coherent way?
They will get a summary of all of their 10 successes and any commercial returns they've achieved on that journey. And then we as an organisation can pull that into an organisational report. So we have a reporting system in the back end of this that allows us to collate that and turn that into a simplified report for an organisation. So it might be, if you had 2,000 people going through it, we'd be able to give you a total ROI. We'd probably review and pull out some of the highlight successes. And if anyone wanted the full database, obviously we could also turn that into a big report.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, thank you. You mentioned the concept of live coaching in virtual sessions. So I wanted to ask you, how did you organize these live coaching sessions and how were these structured?
Yeah, so the live coaching sessions are really important if you want to do the full experience. And so the way you do it is that when you've completed the first 10 modules within the system, when you're ready, you book in and you'll see a whole selection, depending on where you are in the world, of different time slots that you can book into. And there might be 2, 3 or 4 people on that session with you. So you choose a time slot that works for you, and then we do that through Zoom video conferencing. You'll be part within the module, you're given some prep, how you prepare. There's a learning guide to pull down that makes sure you come into that session really ready to go and prepared and clear about the agenda. And then you'll be into a video conference with 4 or 5 other people, including the coach, who then facilitates you through a live coaching experience where you're really embedding those skills further, and then you come out again at the end of that with some further reflection.
Great, thank you.
Was all the technology hosted externally on the Digits server, or was it linked within your own LMS?
So yeah, basically I think everything pretty much is within our database. So even the content that was produced by Leo, we actually host within our platform. So yeah, all the learning activities, all the data, everything's nicely collated under one roof.
And was there a link with your in-house systems, or?
This is our in-house system. So we have turned this into, which is why we need to put our live programs on here as well. So we've put everything now through the same system, so it's all knitted up.
Okay, thanks.
That's it for questions.
Any more questions?
Yeah, if there are any more questions, we are on stand N1, so Notion and Digits will be there. So if you have any more questions, or you want to come meet our project manager, chief exec of Digits, we'll all be over on stand N1. But thank you very much for your time today. Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.